Hey, it is Kollectah Deck. I'm a huge baseball fan and I love players with interesting and unique stories, whether it's on the field or off the field. So that's basically what this show is going to be about. Hopefully, these videos will be about 10 to 15 minutes long every week. And I'm a huge Detroit Tigers fan also, so it may seem like all the players I choose are Detroit Tigers, and there'll be a lot of them, but that's just what I know. It'll eventually be other players, but the first few will definitely be Tigers. But the first player we're gonna do this week is Mark Fidrych. And if you're not familiar with Mark Fidrych, he was a rookie in 1976, and he took the Tigers, who were just horrible back in the early to mid 70s. They had won the World Series in 1968. They had Danny McClain, who was the last pitcher to win 30 or more games. They had a lot of great players on their LK line, but once they hit the 70s, the Tigers were really bad. Billy Martin was their manager for a while. If you can imagine that, I don't think probably most people even know that. He's known mainly for the Yankees getting fired and rehired by George Steinbrenner a bunch of times. I don't know, 3 or 4 different times. But yeah, he was the Detroit Tigers manager for a few years. So I always find that interesting because I don't think a lot of people know that about that. And that story will actually come into play on a future episode with my man Ron the Floor. So start Googling Ron the Floor right now because I'm gonna do a show on him. This dude right here, he's got one of the best stories you'll ever hear as far as a Major League Baseball player will go. It's like really unbelievable. So Billy Martin, Ron the Floor, Google it so you'll be ready for it. But anyways, back to Mark Fidrych. He's rookie year, like I said, 1976. He was the pitcher. He was the AL pitcher rookie of the year. He ended up going 19-9. But what was so amazing about him is he just took the whole game by storm. There weren't very many Detroit Tigers games played, nationwide. So not very many people didn't know about him at first until they played the Yankees, who I want to say won the World Series that year. Either way, though, they were first place in the AL. But anyways, Mark Fidrych, his first career start was against the Yankees, and he ended up winning that game. And basically, from that game on, the Detroit fans absolutely loved this dude. But if you've never seen him pitch, you need to go YouTube the way he pitched, because they called it manicuring the mound and talking to the ball, and they call him the bird. Not because of, the real reason he got the bird, he actually got the bird before he came to the pros, the nickname the bird before he got in the pros, but somebody said it looked like Big Bird, and that kind of just stuck. But anyways, he would do weird movements, and he would get down on the ground, when he would come up and pitch after the opposing pitcher had left the mound. He'd go in there and he would manicure the mound, he would smooth it out, get all the divots out of the mound and stuff like that. And then like I said, he would take the baseball and he'd be talking to the ball, and it'd be kind of moving around. It's kind of crazy, but people absolutely loved it. I'm talking they went from the Tigers went from people just not even caring, being subpar, to just absolute everybody. It was you had to be at the game. It was must see TV or must see watching the Detroit Tigers, going to the games and stuff. But it was crazy. But this guy, he ended up being 19-9 as a rookie. He actually, I got his other card right here. This is his rookie card. This is a earned run average leaders for 1976. This is his 1977 card, obviously. But if you look at the back, it says Mark Fidrych, E.R.A. 2.34, which led the AL. But if you look at the NL, he also led the NL. So he led the MLB. He was a rookie and he had the lowest ERA in the whole league, which is amazing. I mean, this dude was amazing. And I think he started out like 6-0, like he won his first 6 games and he lost 1, then he won like 5 more. It was crazy. This dude came out and it was crazy. And you're thinking, hey, why have I never heard of this guy? Maybe you have, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is some dude you saw like your dad's baseball collection or something like that, baseball card collection. But this guy obviously had a great, great's not even a great rookie year is an understatement, but an amazing rookie year. And started out his second season, started out great. Also, I think he was like, he might have even won the first 5 of his second season, maybe. I could be wrong, but anyways, so he's out at this time for the Tigers. Rusty Staubach actually was playing with him too, and they were out in the outfield. It was like pre-gaming, and they were catching fly balls and stuff like that. And Rusty was there. I mean, him and Mark were out there together, and Mark was like, "Hey, you want to get this next ball?" And Rusty's like, "No, you can get it." And so, anyways, he was messing. Mark was messing around, being funny, and he jumped up to grab his ball, and then he like tore something in his knee. And so he was like, "Oh no!" Like he could tell immediately. Like he jumped up in the air and he came down, and he could immediately tell that something was wrong. And so he walks over to Rusty, and Rusty's like, "Dude, what'd you do to your knee?" He's like, "Oh man, nothing. It's okay." And he's trying to like hide from like the coaches and stuff like that. And anyways, so he ended up doing some major damage to his knee. He was out for 2 months, came back in, and Rusty was telling the coaches, "Hey, leave this dude out, man. You can't mess this dude's career. You gotta let the dude heal. Leave him out as long as it takes." Anyways, they brought him back 2 months. After 2 months, and Rusty was like, "That's too early." But he came back, and I think he started out coming back. He won his first game back, and I want to say he won his first 5. I want to say he's won his first 5 after his injury. And Rusty was like, "All right, you proved me wrong. This guy's great. I was wrong. He's fine. He's doing great." And then it happened. He injured his shoulder, which ended up being a torn rotator cuff. But at the time, I don't know if they necessarily didn't know what a torn rotator cuff was at the time, or they didn't know what the injury. They weren't familiar with the injury at that time. This is the late 70s. They didn't have whatever that, I can't even think of his name, the doctor's name that does the Tommy John surgery and all that kind of stuff. I don't think they had that back. I don't know. Anyway, they didn't know the torn rotator cuff in his shoulder. So they were just like, hey, he missed some games. They brought him back. It wasn't right. His arm was just not working right. And long story short, it eventually ended his career. He was going up to, he was going from the majors down to the minors, minors, coming back. He'd win a game, he'd lose a few games. He just never was the same. So come to find out, what happened was, after he came back from his knee injury, he had changed, subconsciously, he had changed his throwing motion, not his throwing motion, but actually his leg, where his leg would land. He changed where his foot, the position his foot would be in after he threw the ball, and eventually that's what happened to his arm. Because the way he was throwing it messed up his arm because his foot wasn't landing in the correct spot. But when it was happening, he didn't know it was happening. It was just like a subconscious thing, I guess, because he was like trying not to hurt his knee again. He was trying to protect his knee. So anyways, like I said, he was going up and down. That was it. Done. He was done. That was his career. It ruined his career. So he had basically like a year and a half, a season and a half of amazing baseball. And he even actually after the Tigers cut him, he actually went to he's from Boston, he's from Massachusetts, so he actually ended up playing like a year or so, maybe even a half a season of, I don't know if it's even AAA, but anyways, in the minor leagues for Boston. He even went there, did that. But, and that's when he retired or quit baseball from there. But, so anyways, after that, he ended up buying a farm and did a farm for a long time. And then in 2009, he had a Mack truck. And he was working on his Mack truck. And I think you know where this is going. And it fell on top of him and it killed him. So he died in 2009. So obviously that's a horrible story. He could have been one of the best pitchers of all time. He got injured. And then he went on and then he started another career as a farmer up in Massachusetts. And then he gets killed. But we're not going to leave it on that. I was thinking, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who's thought about this, but, and they won the World Series, and the Tigers won the World Series in 1984. So he definitely would have been there for that, to win that. So if his rookie year was in 76, he would have won it in 84. So that would have been like his, seventh or eighth season. And then the Tigers went, they won the division in 87, they went to the playoffs in 87. And now, follow me here, because this is where it's going to get weird. So that would have been his 11th season in 1987. So he definitely would have been playing, because I think he was 22 his rookie year. So early 30s, 32, 33 in 1987 when they go to the playoffs. They were a really good team. They ended up losing to the Twins, who were in the division. But anyways, so check this out. So, in 1987, the Tigers traded for Doyle Alexander from the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, who was just some dude, some pitcher. They needed some pitching. They needed some help to get to the playoffs. Well, they traded to get Doyle Alexander from the Braves. They traded John Smoltz. Everybody knows who John Smoltz is. 20-year career, Hall of Fame, all years for the Atlanta Braves. Won the World Series with the Braves in, was it 95, I think? But anyways, so yes, the Tigers had drafted John Smoltz. But to be fair, John Smoltz wasn't John Smoltz back then. He was in the minor leagues. He was nobody. He was nothing. I don't even think he was even like a top prospect, I don't think. So anyways, they traded Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz. That's where the Braves got John Smoltz. Tigers got Doyle Alexander. So at the time, it ended up working out good because Doyle Alexander went 9-0 for the Tigers in the regular season. He ended up losing, I think, 3 games in the playoffs, so that didn't end up very well. They lost, like I said, to the Twins. But he won. He helped get them to the playoffs by going an amazing 9-0. So my thought is, if Mark Fidrych never gets hurt, he's playing for the Tigers in 1987. They possibly never need to get Doyle Alexander, so they have John Smoltz. They keep John Smoltz. So John Smoltz stays a Tiger, becomes a Tiger in the pros, and plays 20 years for the Tigers, who in 1987, they went to the playoffs in 84, like I said, because they won the World Series. They went to the playoffs in 87, like I said, 3 years later, and then they never went back to the playoffs again. I think for 17 years they went, because in 2006, so it was at 19 seasons. They didn't go back to the playoffs for 19 seasons. It wasn't until 2006 when they went to the World Series, the year after Alan Trammell was their manager for 3 years after he left, after losing 119 games in one season. And then they went to the World Series the next year. So they went 19 seasons without going to the playoffs. So it makes you think, if Mark Fidrych stays healthy, he stays a Tiger, he's winning all these games, they're winning more games, they don't have to trade John Smoltz for Doyle Alexander. How does that change the Tigers? That's something to think about. It's a crazy story. It's crazy because the Tigers traded Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz, or vice versa, I mean. And it's crazy if Mark Fidrych never would have got hurt and John Smoltz stayed a Tiger. That's insane to think about. I don't even want to think about it because the Tigers sucked for a really long time and now they're back to sucking. So that could have changed the history of the Tigers. It would have changed the history of the Tigers. There's no doubt about that. So that's why this guy right here, Mark Fidrych, was the first. I chose him as the first show. I love Mark Fidrych. Every Tigers fan loves Mark Fidrych. If you don't know who Mark Fidrych is, just Google him or YouTube him. Watch some stuff about him on YouTube. Watch the Yankees, that first Yankee game he won. That's on YouTube. There's so much stuff about him on there. It's really cool. Just watch him. Just watch how he pitches. It's amazing how he pitches. Just his style. I mean, it's crazy. He was like such a cool, nice dude. Also, man. But anyways, everybody collects cards differently. That wasn't a very good segue, but I wanted to talk about this real quick because I'm kind of weird the way I collect cards. Like this is just a stack that I have right here, but you know, I got the couple I showed you, and then I got quite a few of his rookie cards, and then like his 81 Donruss, and then I got like a miscut card, and then anyways. So the point is, like, this is just a lot. This is 22 of the same card, and like, let's see. This is a 78 tops. Let's see. Well, you can see that. I think that's the 81 tops, right? Boom, boom, boom. There we go. But I don't care. I don't know. If I see a lot, if I see like a lot of cards on eBay, now by a lot, I mean like this is a lot. Not a lot, a lot. I'm like, I just gotta have it. I'm weird. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm weird. So anyways, I got a ton of Mark Fidrych's cards, and I do that with my favorite player is Alan Trammell. I do the same thing. I've done that since I was a kid. It's really weird. I don't know if anybody else does it like that. If you do, let me know, because nobody I know does it like that. They're just kind of like, oh, I gotta have this one nice card and that's it. But I care about the condition, but not crazy care. I mean, I always have like one nice, version of the card, and then just get I don't want to say as many as I can get, but anyways, yeah. So here's some of the other players of upcoming episodes I want to do. Like I said, Ron the Floor. Here's his rookies and some other of his cards. I know you probably don't know Ron the Floor. He's definitely not a household name, but check out his story. I'll probably do him next. I actually love that card. I love those colors. That top set is awesome from that year. Was that 75, I think? Yeah, 75 tops. That's 75 tops. You can't beat that, man. Here's another John Warden. I know you never heard of this guy. He played one season. He played for the Tigers in '68. He won the '68 World Series with him. But we'll talk about him because he's got a really interesting story. It's not really interesting story. It's unique, I guess. But he didn't even have a Tiger heart. This is like a I don't know what you call it. He didn't even have somebody made this card because he never had a Tigers card, but he did once he left the Tigers after one season. Then he went to the Royals, but I don't think he ever even played for the Royals. But anyways, John Warden, he's got a cool story, and Dave Rosema, my man Dave Rosema, played for the Tigers, obviously. This is so funny. I want to talk about all these guys, but right now, but I know I'm gonna wait. So, anyways, it's been 20 minutes. Kind of just a little introduction, a little feel of what I want to be doing. So, anyways, I hope you liked it. Leave a comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You know what to do. So, anyways, I'm Kollectah Deck. You can follow me on Instagram, Kollectah Deck. That's Kollectah. That's with a K, Kollectah. Excuse me, but yeah, man. Kollectah Deck. See you next time.